rolls or something like that.
The man behind the curtain.
All right. So, welcome to Zanalsin, guys. We're going to start. The campaign's going to begin in your arriving at Port Crowler in New Rhinehaven. So, we're going to go through each one of you individually, and we're going to go through the vetting and pat-down process, and you're going to kind of interact with the NPCs. So, we'll start with Matt first. So, Cinderstone, you're one of the first to arrive super early in the morning, coming from Port Gallo, which is one of the local ports very close to where Port Crowler is. So because you're coming from so close, you get there very, very early in the morning, just before the sun is rising. And there are already armed guards and multiple carriages that are bringing people. The guy that's kind of corralling everyone to the gates out front of the major portion of the city, kind of the bazaar area of the city. You notice that he's doing a spot check for everyone to make sure that there are no weapons or anything like that. And then as you get to the gate, you go through a whole pat-down process. And as you're walking up, you have pretty good passive perception. So as you're walking up, you notice that some of the people are crying as things are being taken away from them. Some people are resisting and being turned away. Other people are, just wholeheartedly accepting what's happening. And you are kind of getting the feeling very quickly that doesn't matter what you do to resist, that you're going to forfeit everything that you have. Coming from your background, I don't think that that's necessarily anything that you're too worried about. But you do still have your hat on your head. So as you approach the guard, the first guard looks at you and says, "That's a pretty fancy hat."
Aye, it is.
Do you bring anything else with you?
Do I have anything with me? Because I don't really have an inventory.
No, you don't. So you would have completely forfeited everything when you got onto the carriage in Port Gallo.
Everything?
All of your weapons, all of your tools that you were using as a deckhand, you've forfeited everything when you got onto you have the clothes that you're wearing, and that's it.
All right. I have nothing on me.
Okay, proceed. He sends you on, and as you walk forward, you've noticed that people are being separated by size, mainly. The larger guys are going to a full-size orc. Some of the smaller are being sent over to where you see a very short person and a very stout man with a beard that you assume to be of dwarven descent. And then everything in between. So you as a human, you're kind of right down the middle. They send you down the middle. You get up to this beautiful elven woman who asks you again, "Sir, do you bring anything with you?"
Quick aside, do I see any insignias on these people at all?
Yes, it's a kraken.
On all of them?
Yep, they're all wearing a very, very ornate pin on their lapel of a kraken with emeralds for eyes.
Do I know what this is? This insignia?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty widely accepted that the kraken is the sigil of the Zymad family.
Do I know what it represents? Why do these people wear these pins? They're just part of the family, or they have a specific role?
Yep. Actually, you know what? Give me a.
Oh yeah. Hit me.
Give me a. What are you doing to discern the differences between the pins? Are you just glancing at them? You're tasting them.
Well, I can't exactly feel them up, so I'm just gonna stare at them intensely.
Okay, give me an investigation check then.
Can it be intimidation? Can I intimidate the pin into telling me what it knows?
Tell me everything you know, Pin.
Yeah.
All right, so with a 3 for investigation, I'm going to say that they all look pretty similar to you.
Good.
You don't see anything that really sets them apart that discerns them. Everybody that you've come in contact with thus far are all wearing the same style ornate kraken pin with green emerald eyes.
Okay. She asked me if
so
I brought anything with me.
She says, "Do you bring anything with you to Port Crowler?"
I bring nothing.
And she says, "In your hat?"
My hat.
In my hat or and my hat?
And your hat?
Yes.
Is that of significance to you?
Are clothes of significance to you?
Fair enough. She asks you, "Will you please step to the side and raise your arms and spread your legs?"
Only if you do too.
Dex check? Acrobatics?
Right?
All right.
Do you do it?
I comply, and I just
Okay.
kind of do it whimsically.
Okay. She kind of she notices that you're making light of it, and she kind of laughs about it, and she motions for a very tall humanoid person. Appears to be male, very androgynous though, could very well be female, with bright red eyes and long dark crimson hair, very chiseled stark features, and he approaches you and begins
I clench
to
my
pat you
cheeks.
down.
He? You said he?
He.
Oh shit! The Jonas Brothers are here.
You recognize this race as a fire genasi, which strikes you as kind of weird.
Okay.
You've never come in contact with a fire genasi before. You've heard of them, but you've never seen one in person before. And
What do I
the
know about
man, you know that they're of innate magical descent. They tend to keep to themselves for the most part, because they're generally feared by society because of their magical abilities. And you've heard rumors, right? So some of the rumors that you may have heard is that fire genasi don't eat; they consume embers of fires to sustain themselves. You may have heard some other really bizarre rumors. So most of what you know of fire genasi are just based on rumors, and most of it seems so outlandish that you have a hard time believing any of it. So
Okay.
the man approaches you and he says, "Welcome, New Zymad." And he reaches out to you, and as his hand gets close to you, you feel a very warm, kind of tingling feeling over your body.
Oh.
And and so he pats you down and he says, "You bring nothing with you?"
The clothes on my back.
Fair enough. You understand why we continue to ask. He gives you a patch, and the patch is you're a human, so it'd be just a general size like shoulder patch, and it's of a kraken, and it has the name Zymad embroidered into the patch, and he hands it to you and he says, "Welcome to the family, son."
Thanks, Dad.
He ushers you into the gates, and you kind of join a crowd of people who are all kind of clamoring to figure out where it is that they're supposed to be going. There are a couple of guides that are directing people, but for the most part, it's a lot of people coming through the gate all at once. And for this early in the morning, it's really unusual for there to be that many people out and about. Like the sun hasn't even come up yet.
Do I see anyone or anything causing a commotion?
No, everything seems to be going pretty orderly. Despite it's like when the gates open at an amusement park, right? It's the same thing. A lot of people all go in the same way, trying to figure out which direction they're going, making sure that the people that they came with are all still with them. Maybe some people are, the old lady that stands right in front of the door as you try to get into a supermarket and kind of annoying to be right in the way. But they're quickly being ushered ahead. So for the most part, everything is moving pretty orderly, but it's very chaotic. There's a lot happening all at once.
Okay.
Give me a perception check. Okay.
Hey.
Very good perception.
Hey.
So, you do notice that there's a little girl off to the side that's crying, that's being comforted by a very small woman who you would assume to be halfling, but wouldn't dare say it. You notice that she's off to the side comforting this crying child, but really can't hear exactly what's going on, just, over the sounds of the commotion, but you do recognize that there's a crying child.
Do I get the sense that there's danger?
No. Nope. In fact, you're oddly comforted by everything that's going on. Like, there's,
Oddly warm and tingly?
you might say.
Okay.
Okay. So you're inside the gates, and we'll kind of pan over to the next person. And next on the list is, I believe it's going to be our turtle friend, Kellock. Quellock. How do you say your name?
Quellic.
Quellock. Okay. So
Super
Quellock, you
nerd.
come in shortly after the first wave. You're ushered off of your wagon, or with the group of people that you're with. You're ushered up to the front, and you approach a very large man wearing the same Kraken sigil, who says to you, says, "Young man, do you bring anything with you?"
I bring my staff and my pipe. And my shell, of course.
He says to you, "Well, of course your shell, but your staff. Unfortunately, that's not issued by the Zymad, and we'll ask that you just leave that with our quartermaster." And he directs you over to a man in robes with a very long white beard and pointy ears, that's standing there, that's just collecting things as people come over to him and hand him weapons and quivers and bows and things of that nature that they use to get there. He says, You'll turn in your staff to the quartermaster here."
I use my staff to walk. You would deny me that?
Give me a persuasion check.
Maybe. What am I rolling here?
You're just going to click on the word persuasion under where your skills are.
Hoy. This fancy thing.
Also, Matt, down at the bottom of your chat box, and all of you can do this, you can change it from your name to your character's name. You should be able to. Yeet.
Oh, yeah. Check it out.
Okay. Quellock, he looks at you and he says, "Unfortunately, sir, we can't allow any weapons of any kinds. Your staff is definitely a weapon of bludgeoning. We'll just ask that you turn that into the quartermaster."
I understand and will comply. So,
Okay.
I comply.
So you bring the staff over to the quartermaster, and the quartermaster greets you. He says, "Son, you bring with you a staff."
I do. It is hewn from the wood of my land in Amand. You may have it as your rules require.
Very good, very good. He takes the staff from you and he says, "Do you bring anything else with you today?"
Indeed, I do. I have this pipe given to me by a dear friend. I shall not relinquish it.
Okay. He says to you, he says, "Well, son, our worldly belongings from our previous life have no place in our new lives in Zymad, with the Zymad."
I am sure you know of turtles and our disdain for emotional connections to things of any kind. Trust me when I tell you that this is of importance, and I, again, will not relinquish it. It
give
is
me
but a simple pipe.
Give me a persuasion with advantage.
How do I do advantage, or do I just...
Up at the top of your sheet, you're going to click on where it says advantage, normal, or disadvantage. You're going to toggle advantage on by clicking on advantage.
Okay, cool.
And then just roll persuasion. Okay. He says, I'll ask that you turn it over for now. The staff is not negotiable. The staff becomes part of the armory that will go to whoever is deemed in need. The pipe, on the other hand, I just ask that you turn it over for now, and we'll revisit this conversation later.
You call me son. May I inquire as to your age?
Well, my life began again when I joined the Zymad family, and I've been with Shinhua for, 14 years.
I see. I am over 125 years old. I am old
Today,
by
son,
your
you're a
standards.
newborn.
Today's son.
Please tell that to my aching bones. You have denied me my staff, and I understand why, and have complied. The pipe is the last remaining indulgence of an old turtle. I do not wish to part with it, for I know not what you will do with it, and it is of sentimental value beyond anything that I have ever known.
So he lowers his voice so that only you and he can hear, and he motions for you to move closer. And as you lean into him, he says, "We all have our vices," and he pulls back his robe. He pulls back his robe just enough for you to be able to see that he has a very long corncob pipe in his robe.
Oh, pipe.
And he says, he has a very long, and he says to you, "I understand the vices of humanity, of being. I need you to understand that I have a job to do today, and trust me when I say I will not keep your vices from you. But you need to understand as well that if asked, this holds no sentimental value. This does not remind you of your past life. It's nothing more than a vice." And he kind of leans back again after saying that. And he raises his voice again, so everyone around can hear, so that he's not hiding anything. And he says to you, "I'll just ask that you turn the pipe over." And he kind of looks very intently into your eyes. He says, "For now."
Hello? Hello?
All right, now I don't know what to do. He showed me his pipe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, sure did.
was it is it one of those situations where he's telling me just slide it in your shell and it'll be fine, or is he telling me that he's trying to reassure me that if I turn my pipe over to him, he will make sure that I get it back?
Your wisdom is high enough, and I'll say that their passive insight really isn't a thing. But he's not trying to hide anything from you. He's making it pretty clear that if you give him this pipe, he will see to it that you get it back quickly. Okay. He's not trying to deny you, keeping the pipe, because he wants you to understand that you're not allowed to bring anything of sentimental value with you. But if you pass it off as it's not sentimental value, he's going to take it for now so that you can make it through the check. And then once you get through the check, he's going to make sure that it gets back. This is kind of a trust. He's asking you to trust him, to forsake all of your past life and trust him that as a member of the Zymad family, he'll take care of you.
All right, so I will hold the pipe in my hand, feeling its weight. Just kind of looking at it.
Vito burrito. Sure.
I ask, what is your name?
My name.
Yes.
Well, I'm as I'm at as everyone, but they call me Quartermaster.
Very well, Quartermaster. I will comply. And you may take my pipe. Know that it has not left me since it was given to me by Tukwai, my mentor.
He smiles and nods, and he reaches his hand out, and his very long, slender, bony fingers in his shaking hand, and you kind of feel comforted by it. Like this guy understands. Like he's been around, he's seen some things, and he's not by any means trying to. He's got a job to do, right? Like this is his job. And so he reaches his hand out, and he doesn't touch the pipe. He waits for you to set it into his hand.
Okay. I will set it into his hand, and I will nod slowly at him in understanding. Where is it I am to go next?
When you set the pipe in his hand, he leaves his hand out as you set the pipe in, and he embraces you with his left hand around your wrist. And he says, "Welcome to the family, son." And he takes the pipe from you, and he just motions very gracefully to the left side where a large orc is standing. And he says, "A man of your stature, you understand." And he motions you over to the far left side where you see a very large orc, and then like a collection of just very large humanoid figures. There's a dragonkin there. There's just the big guys, right? And he's telling you, go see the big guy, right?
All right, so I'm being ushered into the offensive line. I got it. I'm going.
Yes. You're the new lineman. So.
All right, cool.
Okay. So you make your way through the crowd, and it's not without a little effort. You have to kind of maneuver your way through. You're a big dude with a giant shell, right? So you kind of maneuver your way through the crowd, and you get over to where the large guys are standing. And in comparison, you're a big dude, but standing next to some of these guys, man, makes you feel small. You realize that there's some serious force that exists in this in Port Crowler. And so you get up to the orc, and the orc says, "Son, do you bring anything with you?" And you're noticing something now, just because you picked up on it, that everyone is referring to you as son.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, I guess I don't. The ways of humans escape a simple turtle. I bring nothing with me but my shell and my devotion to my god, Tenno.
Little snide remark, just kind of your devotion. And he kind of gets a little bit of a laugh out of it. And he says, "Very well, welcome to the family." And he ushers you over to a very large dragonborn that's standing there, waiting to check and make sure that you bring nothing with you.
I pay him no mind. He is. I am neutral in many things, so I will be ushered.
Okay. So the dragonborn, rather than trying to speak with you, he reaches his arms out to the side and spreads his legs as if to I want you to do what I'm doing.
I'm going to pat him down. I'm just...
Is that what you do?
No.
I anything, are you?
Go on.
I will look at him for a second as if I'm not sure what this is all about. Like, we're getting a little extreme. And listen, I'm a turtle. I'm a shell. I don't wear clothes. Where am I hiding anything?
He kind of confused looks, and then he looks over at the orc, and the orc just kind of shrugs like, "Fuck if I know." And the dragonborn looks, and he doesn't say anything. He just grunts at you, you know, doing the same thing. Like, spread your legs and open your arms, man. I gotta pat you down. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's just my job.
So I was sent here, obviously, by my clan leaders. This is part of the process. I will comply.
Okay.
I will assume the position.
You assume the position, and the Dragonborn, like, man, you feel how uncomfortable he is trying to figure out what the hell he's supposed to be patting down.
Eye contact.
So he walks up to you, and he's towering over you by at least a solid 3 feet. And he looks down at you, and he kind of like peers down the back of your shell and looks around the side, and he reaches out one of his arms and kind of touches the side of the shell where like your belly and the hard portion of the shell were to meet. He kind of touches it right there, and he's really, really confused and awkward and doesn't know what he should or shouldn't be touching.
I giggle.
So
Me too.
He just grabs both of your arms, and he just runs his hands down your arms, and his hands wrap all the way fingertip to fingertip around your arm. And he pats all the way down your arms, and he bends down, and he does the same with like the little bit of legs that are sticking out of the shell. And so he like pats those down a little bit, and he stands back up, and he kind of pushes his chest out, and ushers you through the gate.
A man of few words.
Okay. So you get through the gate, and you see the same thing. It's just a huge commotion, lots of people, lots of stuff going on. You know, you're not really sure exactly where it is that you're supposed to be going, but you do see a lot of people with that same Kraken insignia on their lapel that are helping people find where they're supposed to be going. And we'll cut scene there and move to Narfi and Jay. I think the two of you get here at the same time. So,
oh no, the bacon's done.
More bacon.
There's no more bacon. So,
ta-da, the money shot. Let's start over.
So the two of you arrive on the same wagon, and there's a mixture of a group of different people in the wagon, right? So you have all walks of life, and you guys arrive, and by this time it's probably late morning. The sun is up; it's starting to get a little warmer, and there are dozens and dozens of people, dozens and dozens of wagons that are all unloading people by the tens. There's hundreds of people that are all standing in queue to get in. So when you guys get off the wagon, you're kind of, you know, ushered into certain directions. Minx, being as small in stature as you are, you're sent down to the far right. Jay, being little above average, you're ushered a little bit to the left.
We're split up,
and the whole wagon is split up like that. And
how many people were in our wagon?
Probably 8.
8, okay.
Yep. Kind of a very, at this time of the day, there's a lot more excitement than there is early in the morning, right? So you have, you know, people have actually been awake for a little while, and there's an amount of excitement that exists. And so you guys, before being split off, you walk up to the first guy, and you guys probably get there about the same time. And he addresses people as a whole rather than taking the individual approach that he did before. And he says to everybody, "Children, do you bring anything with you?"
Nope.
No.
My sass.
Okay. He says,
Nothing
"You son
of interest."
Huh?
Does he catch that? I don't think he does. There's a lot going on. He's not really focused on. You say no. Okay. He says, "You son, this way. My daughter, this way," and he ushers you in different directions. So Jay, you get over to where you see, you know, some pretty big guys standing. Some people of the same lineage as you.
Yeah.
And you walk up, and one person in particular reaches out to embrace you in a way. Father was human, correct?
Mother
was human. Okay. So he reaches out to embrace you in a way that you would probably recognize. He reaches his arm out very far and with his forearm turned to the sky. And this is something that you recognize, that when two orcs greet each other, they do so by the initiator being the submissive one that displays his forearm to the sky, and the person that is embracing the other person would place their arm on top of the other person, forearm down, grasping each other's each other's forearms. Yep. And so he reaches his arm out to you with his palm to the sky.
Greetings.
And he says to you in Orcish,
yes.
Welcome, new brother.
Greetings, I have just arrived.
He says to you, do you bring anything with you?
Nope. All that you can see.
Okay. He says, very well. Welcome to the family. And
Thank you.
Directs you to another orc who actually stands probably a whole foot taller than this guy. Much larger. This guy's very stoic, very stern, does not reach out to embrace you.
He's a foot taller than me or my character? Or, I'm sorry, me or the guy that was ushering me?
The guy that was ushering you.
Okay.
So you, if I remember correctly, are sub 6 foot, correct?
Yes.
So the orc that embraced you initially was probably just shy of 7 foot tall. This guy's pushing 8. Like, he's massive. And very stoic, does not reach out to embrace you. Yep. He says to you in Orcish, he says to you, submit for search.
I don't think I will.
He looks at you and he says, very well, leave.
Where shall I go? I've just arrived.
Not of my concern. Next.
Am I still standing there?
You are, yeah. He's just decided that he's done talking to you.
Well,
he says, submit for search. You say, I don't think I will. He says, okay, leave. Next person.
Okay, search that guy. I'm just going to stand here.
Okay, so you're standing there. He searches the next guy. The next guy walks up to him. He says, submit for search. The guy kind of looks back at you like, what the hell is wrong with you? And he spreads his arms and his legs. Guy pats him down. And he says, welcome to the family. And the guy enters the gate. Do you do anything, or do you continue standing there watching?
I was welcome to the family. Yeah, I didn't have to do that search, so I'm in. So you just keep doing your thing.
Okay. He doesn't say or even acknowledge that you're still there. He just continues to search. So, next person comes up, does the same thing. You still just standing there watching?
Observing quietly.
Okay.
Kind of keeping myself, kind of observing how this process goes on. Trying to recognize anybody that I had in my wagon.
Okay. So guy comes up, probably like the third person that he searched, pats him down, and he stands back up straight and he peers down at the guy and he says to the guy, sir, I need you to turn your pockets. And the guy says, well, this isn't really, and he looks at him and very stern says, I need you to turn your pockets. And so the guy empties his pockets, and from his pocket, you see a large, almost like a shooter marble size, what looks like a pearl. It's translucent, kind of glowing.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says,
do I see it?
Yeah, you see it.
I see it. Okay.
You're just standing there watching.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, you see that he's found this on the guy's person, And so the guy, he starts to explain, and the orc says, "I'm not interested in an explanation. Please go see our quartermaster." So the guy takes the pearl, the marble back from the guy, and he kind of hangs his head a little bit, and he walks over to the quartermaster.
Okay.
Quartermaster's probably... You wouldn't be able to see the quartermaster from where you're standing with all the
like in
chaos
another
that's
room.
happening, but
Yeah.
you see as he kind of just like disappears into the crowd in that direction. At this point, there's no one else in the line for this particular gate. And so the guy turns to you and he says again, very sternly, "Submit for search or leave."
Didn't he just take that pearl to the quartermaster? Or did he let him do that?
He told him, he gave it back to him, and he says, "Take this to the quartermaster."
Okay. Seems you have no one else to search.
He looks at you again very sternly and he says, "Submit for search or leave." You're kind of getting the feeling that this guy is just going to stonewall you. Like, there's nothing you're going to be able to say or do to turn his character. He's just... This is his job. He takes it very seriously, and he's a very proud person of what it is that he does. And you're not going to get anything
tall.
by him. He's probably pushing 8 foot tall. Yeah, he's a big dude.
You're a man of character. I agree to your search. However, like a record state, I do not enjoy it. Arms out.
Okay. So he pats you down. Jay, where are you hiding the thing that you're attempting to smuggle in with you?
It's in my left back pocket.
Okay. Pat you down. He finds it.
Jesus Christ.
So he says, "Son, please turn out your pockets."
Front pockets.
He's not amused. Doesn't crack a
Jean
smile. He stands there and he looks at you very intensely, waiting, and you can feel the anger welling up inside of him that you
I turn
are
around.
trying to deceive him.
I turn around. Pockets.
The back
My
pockets.
watch in my back pockets. Watch is in my left hand.
Okay, give me a sleight of hand.
With advantage or not?
No advantage. He's watching you. Okay. Doesn't see it.
All right. Satisfied?
He says to you again, "Submit for search."
This again?
Now that your pockets are turned out, he wants you to assume the position again so that he can pat you down.
We've already done this. You didn't pat the other guys down twice.
He says to you again in a very stern manner, "Submit for search or leave."
What do you got against me? I came here.
Uh,
I was a little stubborn, but in
Mid
the end,
conversation, he reaches out to you and grabs you by your shoulders and forces your arms out to the side.
they're out to
You
the
can
side.
attempt to resist if you want to.
They're out to the side.
Oh,
Okay. So while you're talking, he just begins patting you down, and
Okay.
and he pats down your back to your back pockets, and kind of pauses for a minute and pats your back pockets again. And his hands are probably the size, like one hand is probably the size of your entire ass. Like this
Mhm.
dude is just a
My
monster.
entire ass.
And so, like, he's patting you down and he stops and he,
Uh-huh.
like, shoves his hand into you, holding you from falling over forward.
Okay. Alright.
And, like, continues to pat you down. And he stands back up and he looks at you and he says, kind of a little confused, "Welcome to the family," and ushers you into the gate.
Thank you.
Okay, so you get inside.
That's
Commotion.
it. I say thank you and I walk away.
Okay.
Fucking
You get inside, commotion, bunch of shit happening, people everywhere, very hectic. a lot of excitement though. Like everything is a very positive. You're the only one that seems to be playing edgelord. Like everybody else is.
Fine.
So
I have my reasons.
The
So
Kool-Aid.
Huh?
Narfi, he
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
he ushers you over to the right side where you see a very small, sprightly humanoid with bright green hair and pink eyes. And you can hear over everything else going on this very loud and excited and squeaky voice that says, "Welcome." And that's all she says. And then she everyone.
She gets patted down by a girl? I want that. I was on the same wagon. Why did I get to see her? Jeez.
She says to you, "Do you bring anything with you?"
Just me.
Just you?
My
Well, that's a
cell
great thing to
phone.
bring with you.
I know. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're excited that you're here. And she says, welcome to the family, the newest Zymad. She says, "Please, this way," and she sends you over to a much less excited bearded lady who you immediately recognize as a dwarf. Stout, very firm, and she's not upset. She's not stoic. She says, "Welcome to the family, please," and she kind of like motions for you to extend your arms.
I extend my arm. I'm hesitant about it, but I do it.
For as gruff and manly and just rough exterior as this lady is, as she pats you down, it's very, very gentle. She's very careful with every movement that she makes, and it's very, precise and decisive movements. And so she pats you down, and I don't believe she finds anything on you, correct? Like you're not bringing anything with you or attempting to smuggle anything? No. Okay. So she finds nothing, and she says to you, "Welcome to the Zymad family." And I apologize. Everyone that made it through the gates was given the same patch. But the patches were different size based on which gate you went through, right? So it stands to reason the larger gate, they give you larger patches because you're probably a bigger person. So it gives you a very small patch with the Kraken insignia on it and the name Zymad. And she says, "Welcome to the family." And she ushers you into the gate.
Thank you.
So at this point, I'm going to say that Kellock and Cinderstone, the two of you have probably by this point had the opportunity
that's it for me?
to. Yeah,
I had
that's
these extensive searches. I was like, "Hey, thanks."
I resisted.
You weren't trying to smuggle anything or resist, or I mean, Matt's was pretty simple too. He just said, "Okay, sure."
Hey, I didn't get a patch.
So I just stand there looking around.
No, we all got a patch.
Everyone got a patch. I apologize. I forgot to say.
Where am I supposed to put that patch?
So we don't
They
go
gave
through
it to
the
you.
padding phase round 2?
No padding phase round 2.
Oh, neat.
Jesus.
So
The first one was rough.
Kellock and Cinderstone, the two of you at this point have had the opportunity. You've probably been here for a couple of hours now, so you have one of two options. You can either ask one of the escorts to tell you which way you're going, or you can kind of just peruse around. As you get a little further into the gate, you notice that they're bringing you right into what you would assume is the center of town. And there are market stalls set up all over the place. There's people, there are entertainers, there's a couple of guys that are singing near a fountain. There's a lot of commotion going on. So you have a couple of options. You can walk around and hang out and look around by yourself, or you can ask one of the people that you assume to be a guide which way it is that you're supposed to be going.
Do we know what we're supposed to do?
No.
We're just shoved in here. We're just, given the old touchy-feely treatment and shoved through a door and just...
Yep.
Good.
Is there Is there any place that isn't like overly crowded? I'm comfortable in amongst the trees and the animals, but humanity maybe not so much.
You're in the middle of a port, so there is pretty much something happening or someone happening everywhere you look.
I might just turtle. Just go into my shell.
Just retreat to my shell and spit.
Just let him kick me along. Well, since I don't like this, I'm going to approach one of the guides.
Okay. And the guide welcomes you, and she says, "Welcome, young Zymad. What can I do for you?"
I know not where I am to go now.
And she says, "Oh, right, of course. Well, the official welcoming meeting doesn't begin until the final gate closes. The final gate usually closes around the time when the sun is highest in the sky. And so, basically, what she's saying to you is around noon. They do morning welcomes, and then around noon is when they have a meeting." And she says, "The meeting obviously will be in the hall. You're welcome to look around until then, or you can go set up in the hall."
What time is it now? Like, I mean, by estimating.
Probably about 6 in the morning for you.
Oh, jeez.
It's early.
Wow.
Very early. You guys got there really early.
Can you tell me more about this market? How are we to purchase anything if we have been stripped of all worldly goods?
Oh, well, you don't purchase anything. Everything is provided for you by the Zymad family. You need only ask. Your patch is your currency. And she motions to her arm where she's wearing the very same patch that you were given, but you notice that she also has a golden kraken insignia on her lapel as well.
Oh, damn.
I look at my arms and I got no place to put a patch.
She catches it, and she kind of chuckles a little bit, and she says, "I'm sure there's someone that can help you with that."
And
say,
she says, "I think there's somewhere you could put that."
And she says to you, she says, many people that don't wear armor tend to still wear a shield, and some affix their patch to the shield. Others, well, they just present it when asked.
I have no shield. Sounds like the former will not be an option. I will choose the latter.
She says, well,
Tell
a
me.
shield is very within reason to request, of course.
What kind of meeting are we attending that I would need a shield?
She chuckles and she says, oh, well, obviously you wouldn't need one while you're in Port Crowler. You're very safe here.
Perhaps you know where I could find maybe a smoke?
She says, smoke? Well, we do have an herbalist. Sure. And she hands you a map of Port Crowler.
Yes.
Okay. Can I read the map?
Yeah, it's pretty primitive, but it gives you the basic idea of this is where the market is.
You are here.
There's a sword. Yeah, there's a "You are here" X on it, like at the mall.
You are here. Is there a tram?
There's a couple of buildings that are very closely grouped together that have a sword in front of them. There's a couple of buildings that are grouped very closely together with a helmet in front of them. There's a music note in front of another group of buildings. Things like that. So you notice that one of them has a vial, and your intelligence is pretty low.
It's not that low. I don't get a negative on it or anything.
It's average. So you would be able to discern that where the vial is probably where the herbs are kept. It's not.
Well, I could just ask this nice lady.
You could.
That would be the wise thing to do, and I am wise.
I mean, if he
So
he
do
can
you
already,
ask her?
yeah, he can already
Sure,
use a pipe.
absolutely.
He should know how to get contents for said pipe.
So you ask her, where would I find these herbs?
Is that what the kids are calling it nowadays?
This map is foreign to me. Please point to where I should go.
She chuckles and says, "You have to understand, I've been here so long that sometimes, I just forget." And she says, "We have some alchemists, and they keep decent stock of herbs. One person in particular, he goes by the name of Weary. He would be who you're looking for." And she points to one of the buildings next to where the vial is on the map.
Weary.
Very
Flip
well.
One upside down.
There we go.
Thank you for the information, and I will walk off. And so until the meeting starts, I'm gonna go try to find this Weary.
Okay.
And have a smoke, and then maybe get something to eat. So smoke and a pancake.
As you're walking away from her, a young boy runs up behind you and he says, Mister, and he runs up to you and he grabs a hold of your arm and he spins around in front of you and he holds your pipe out about chest level for him, which is pretty low for you, but he makes it so that no one else can see it, and he holds it out in his hand and he says, "I think this is yours."
Pipe got.
I will. I'll do my best to take it inconspicuously. My skill set.
Fumble.
There's enough going on around you that no one would really be paying attention. In fact, no one even turned to look at the boy as he ran up and yelled, Mister, at the top of his lungs. Like, there's just so much commotion that you could take it.
Turtle smoke.
Okay, so
pipe.
I will. I will take the pipe. How tall is he compared to me?
He's no more than 3 feet tall. Like, you would assume that he's probably adolescent boy.
All right, so I'll take the pipe, and in the same motion, I'll get down on one knee. I'm not old and decrepit. It's just, and I will look him square in the eye, and I have nothing to repay you with, but my thanks.
That's enough, mister. And he kind of laughs and chuckles and skips on about his merry way.
Okay. I
Other
will tuck
pilfer
this
goods.
neatly inside my shell.
Okay.
Where I keep it.
Okay.
And go about my regular scheduled program.
Yeah.
So your prison pocket. So at this point, you kind of get the feeling like it's not that you're not allowed to have this, you're just not allowed to have brought it from the outside. So they're just trying to make sure that you're not bringing your old life with you. They want you to be a Zymad through and through and to forsake all of your previous life. So there's nothing wrong with you having it. In fact, if you were to look around, you would see other people that are, leaning against poles or sitting on benches, or, groups of people talking together that are all smoking pipes. No idea what's in them. Just, it smells good. But it's not something that's like, they're not trying to prevent you from having it. So it's not something that you would have to conceal going forward.
They got it.
Yeah, that's
after
where I
they
keep it
arrived.
anyway.
Sure. Okay. So you're looking for smoke and food, and
Smoke and a
Matt,
pancake.
did you want to ask somebody where you were going, or do you want to just walk around the market?
What do I see?
Lots of people, a crying child. There's lots of commotion going on around you. There's a couple of people that you would assume to be guides that are directing people. You see them handing out papers and things like that.
Do I have the knowledge that We can get things from this marketplace.
You would assume that the market stalls are selling something.
Do I see any coin being traded? Do I see anywhere that I could make a profit or gain something from? Maybe, just kind of swindling some shit.
Sure. You see a couple of people gathered around like kind of a large stone, sort of between a couple of buildings off to the side that appear to be rolling dice and, making a very loud racket every time the dice hit the stone, and pushing around on each other and laughing and having a good time. And you would assume that these guys are probably gambling.
Is anyone that looks like they have a pretty little patch watching them?
No.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to go up to a guide first.
Okay.
Do I at least know that much that I would know to go to a guide?
Sure. You see a lot of people approaching these people and them giving them directions of where they can go.
Okay. I will approach one.
Okay. So you approach one of the guides. Do you have... What's your charisma? Charisma's pretty high, isn't it? Yeah, 14. Yeah, you're above average. You're solid 7.
I punch above the belt.
Yeah. So the lady, she greets you with open arms and she says, "Welcome, young Zymad. What can I help you with today?"
What does she look like?
At first glance, she just looks human.
Right, but is she clothed like she's a guide, or is she clothed like she's legit gonna fuck my world? Meaning she's wearing armor, has a weapon.
Nope, no armor, no weapon. She's dressed very professionally.
So
solid, dark solid colors. Her hair is done very nicely. She's very well groomed and well maintained. She's not an unattractive woman, but she's not particularly attractive either. She just maintains herself very well. She smells really good.
Oh. Do I notice that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
When you get close enough to talk to her, you smell very floral scents. She's much cleaner than what you're used to dealing with, and you can smell the soap, and you're a little titillated by that.
Wow, am I a warm and fuzzy feeling? Like warmy and fuzzy?
Warm and fuzzy hasn't necessarily worn off, but you're not getting any of that from her.
Okay. All right, so I'll walk up to her, and she outstretched her arms and said, "Welcome. What can I help you with?"
Yeah, she says, "Welcome, young Zymad. What can I help you with?"
I kind of look around and I say, "Well, this is an overwhelming place to be.
It can be.
Where might I be going?"
Well, that's up to you. The meeting doesn't start until around around when the sun is the highest in the sky.
I'm sorry, what meeting?
Well, the meeting for all the new members of the family, of course. You're getting the feeling like these people kind of forget because they do this every single day.
Right.
You're getting the feeling that they kind of forget that this isn't public knowledge, what happens.
Oh, is this like new sailor orientation or what?
She says, "Well, yeah, I guess so, but all of the newborn Zymad, we all gather and meet and introduce ourselves, and, well, of course, the lottery takes place."
Lottery, you say? How am I supposed to partake if I have no money?
Oh, it's not that kind of lottery. The lottery is just how we assign your party.
Why do I have to be in a party?
Well, you've come to Port Crowler to take part in the restoration of New Zymad. We don't expect that anyone's capable of that on their own.
You got me there. So what am I expected to bring to this orientation?
We only ask that you bring yourself.
No weapons, no armor.
No. You need only come to the Zymads as who you are. We'll provide the rest.
Where can I get weapons and armor that will be provided?
Well, you need only ask. Your patch is your currency.
Well, I'm asking.
And she pulls a map out and she hands it to you and she says, "We have multiple armor smiths and weaponsmiths throughout Port Crowler. Anything within reason, of course."
And we simply pay with our patch?
Of course, if you're a member of the Zymad, you'll be taken care of. Anything you could need.
I kind of give her a side glance and say, "Come on, nothing's free."
She reaches out to you and puts her hand on her shoulder and she says to you,
Ooh, woo.
"A lot of people have that skepticism. Understand that this isn't like the rest of the provinces. Port Crowler is a family. The Zymads are a family. Your well-being is just as important to me as mine."
I kind of feel a little bit uneasy by what she's saying, especially throwing around the term family so much. A little disgusted by that term, actually. I kind of visibly show my disgust.
Are you making it a point to, like, you want her to see that you're disgusted by what she's saying to you?
Yeah, I'm a little uncomfortable visibly.
Okay. So she notices, and she's kind of left with the decision of, continue the script or try to change the subject. And she says, "That hat, that's a really nice hat. Where did you get that?"
I'm uber triggered.
She says, I mean no offense, of course. Well, if there's anything else I can do for you. And she kind of like removes her hand from your shoulder and makes sure that you have possession of the map and quickly turns away. And
is this magical warm and fuzzy preventing me from being triggered?
Oh, no.
Okay, so I still feel I can still feel disgust and anger.
Oh yeah,
Still fucking angry.
Just checking. All right, I guess I reel back a little bit on my disdain for her and say thank you. And she marked where I need to go and when I need to go to this orientation, right?
Nope.
All right, then I'll ask her. So now that I have this map, where and when should I show up?
Well, they'll announce when the meeting is starting, and we need only go to the town hall. And she points directly in the middle of the map, where you see kind of an amphitheater, a very rough sketch of an amphitheater drawn out.
Announce, you say?
Of course.
I won't question it.
Okay.
I say that in character.
She is kind of unsure how to approach you now, so she doesn't like. It's one of those like nervous.
I'm doing it on purpose.
Chuckles.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and mark.
Uncomfortable. Let's go.
Go ahead and mark inspiration on your sheet. That was very well played.
All right, so I'll just take the map. I'll walk away from her. Let her do her thing, and I will approach. What do I read on the map? Can I read everything on the map or what?
It's like I said, it's very roughly sketched. You can make out like where you are in relation to things. You see that there are, groups of buildings with, a sword out front, or groups of buildings with a helmet or a vial or musical.
I'm going to the place with the pointy stick.
Okay.
As a sign.
Okay. Good. All right, let's go ahead and take a break there. Take 10 minutes, and then